Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today. My name is Donovan Guzman. I am an education coordinator at Get Outdoors Nevada. And here at Get Outdoors Nevada, we are dedicated to connecting you and your families to Nevada's diverse and beautiful outdoor spaces. Today, I'm here to connect you to your outdoor spaces by talking to you today about Mojave Max. Today, I'm going to give a little lesson about the threats that desert tortoises face. And as you know, Mojave Max represents all of the threatened desert tortoises here in the Mojave Desert, and his main theme is to respect, protect, and enjoy our desert. So in this little video, I'm going to teach you about the threats that desert tortoises face, but I'm also going to teach you the different things that you can do on your level to protect desert tortoises and make sure that they're able to grow and survive here. So let's get started. As you know, Mojave Max represents all of the desert tortoises here in our desert. Now, one of the threats desert tortoises face is something known as habitat destruction or habitat fragmentation. And that just means as we grow and grow as a city, we require and need more land to build homes or schools or churches and roads. And when we do that, we destroy habitat or desert that desert tortoises rely on and live in. So that's why we set aside special places like Lake Mead and Red Rock Canyon and places like Desert National Wildlife Refuge, because at those different places, those are protected lands where we're not allowed to build a lot, and that's because we want to save as much habitat as we can for desert tortoises and other animals too. Another threat that desert tortoises face are ravens. Now, ravens are the number one predator to desert tortoises. Now, ravens used to be a migratory species, which means they used to fly within North America to different places depending on the seasons and the temperatures. But now, ravens here in our desert are known as a nesting species, which means they stay here in the desert. And that's because as we've grown as a city, we provide more food, water, shelter, and nesting sites for ravens to stay. Now, we used to not have a lot of ravens here in our desert, but as years have gone on and we've grown as a city, as we build homes and schools, we've allowed more water and food and available sites for ravens to stay and grow in. Now, ravens are scavengers and they are omnivores. So they're attracted to being next to campgrounds or picnic sites and even landfills. So one thing you can do is if you're ever traveling, if you're ever at Lake Mead or Red Rock Canyon and you're camping or you're at a picnic site, it's very important that you throw your trash away, because ravens are omnivores and they can eat meat, but they can also eat grains and eggs and fruit. So we want to keep those foods away. We want to make sure we put that food in a trash can, put the lid on, close it so that ravens cannot get to it. Now, ravens and desert tortoises, they both are active in the springtime. So ravens have a breeding period, which means they need to collect as much food and energy as they can so that they can make eggs. So ravens are active in the springtime, but desert tortoises are also active in the springtime too, because we know that's when they come out of brumation and they come out of their sleep. So to keep the raven population low and to make sure desert tortoises are able to grow and survive, we want to decrease their population, and we can do that by throwing our trash away. Another threat to desert tortoises is vehicles or cars. So if you're ever traveling out in the desert, it's very important that you keep an eye out for desert tortoises and other animals crossing the desert. Now, desert tortoises, they're not very fast. They go less than 1 mile per hour. So we want to keep an eye out for them crossing the road. They like to cross the road because they may see food or shade across the street. So if you ever see a tortoise crossing sign, make sure to slow down and keep an eye out for them. And another threat desert tortoises face is something known as an upper respiratory tract disease. And that's a sickness that desert tortoises can get from pet desert tortoises. So it's very important that if you can't take care of your pet tortoise, it's very important that you do not release it out into the wild, because it may hurt and affect wild desert tortoises. Now, that upper respiratory tract disease is a sickness. It's a bacteria that affect desert tortoises' nasal passages. It affects their eyes as well. So we want to make sure we keep desert tortoises healthy, and we can do that by keeping our pet tortoises away from wild desert tortoises. And another threat that desert tortoises face are sometimes desert tortoises like to go underneath your car. So if you're ever on the desert on a super hot day, make sure to ask your mom or your dad or your cousin to take a quick little peek under the car tire just to make sure there aren't any desert tortoises under there. And lastly, a one threat desert tortoises face are collection. So sometimes desert tortoises are collected by people, and when that happens, they are taken out of their natural habitat and they may be hurt, and sometimes they may not survive that way if they are taken from their natural home. So those are some threats to desert tortoises, but don't worry, there are so many things you can do to protect desert tortoises. You can protect their habitat and protect their burrows by staying on designated roads and trails. Another thing you can do is to throw your trash away so that we can keep the raven population low, keep ravens away. So there are so many different things that you can do to protect desert tortoises. I want to thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Remember, Mojave Max represents all the threatened desert tortoises here in our desert. I will be back next week to give you another lesson about the Mojave Max program. Be sure to tune into, or be sure to check out getoutdoorsnevada.org and Get Outdoors Nevada on Facebook and Instagram for different activities and different things that you could do at your home at this time. So I wish you good health. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I will see you next time.